Alright, so we're trying to do something that's slightly different as a kind of experiment where we're trying to briefly, like, kind of like read an abbreviated version of a story rather than the full story. Like, it's like
Right.
67,000 words. We're trying to reduce it,
Mm-hmm.
obviously.
Mm-hmm.
This one, for context, I read one line from the fan fiction, laughed, and I just had to know the context of the line.
Yeah, one line in like what chapter like 12?
Chapter 8.
Ah, chapter
It
8.
was,
Don't read the
I'm
line
on my
yet.
sixth.
Don't
Oh,
read the line
okay.
yet. We have to build up anticipation for when the time comes.
All right, all right.
So
If you want to read, if you
hmm?
want to read the full one, we'll give a link in the description. Obviously,
Right, of course.
the
This story is called Doki Doki Eddy Club. And if you couldn't
this
guess,
that
it's a crossover between Doki Doki Literature Club and Ed, Ed, and Eddy. And I think, you know what? I don't think there's any more wrinkles to what that is.
I'm not even sure if you explicitly need to read or watch either of the franchises to understand this one. I'm going to be honest
I don't think
here.
you can understand anything of what's going on in this story. From what I know of it, Josh is it knows way more about this story than I have. I've skimmed through a couple chapters and was very confused.
Well, let me illuminate you. Let me
Yes.
illuminate with the most
Yes.
mundane part of the entire story. The first day, the story starts with a poem called "The Creek," which I think is about Eddie missing his friends and family and feeling regret.
Right.
Weird lines like their dreams were eaten by fishes, or everyone doesn't seem to remember. I don't know what that means.
It's
I
deep,
don't think
man.
he'll ever explain it.
It's deep. He's a deep thinker.
Storm Chaser, day 1, morning. Eddie woke up to the sound of an alarm clock. Yay, first day of work, he said with sarcasm coating his statement in a fine sludge. Good morning, Eddie, a man greeted as he entered the room, scarring its inhabitant. He had about 4 inches on his nephew in height and shared a similar physique.
Does Eddie have
An
a
end.
has a, does Ed sorry does Eddie have a nephew in the show? I don't
I
think he
don't know.
does.
I've never watched the show game.
Is Eddie the one who's like bald? I think it is.
Yes.
Oh God, I can use
Yes.
I think I can use that picture I drew of Eddie in the thumbnail. This will be great.
Oh yeah, you can. An endomorphic body type with sloped shoulders. No idea. I'm not
An
knowledged enough.
endomorph body type. You know what? I'm looking this up.
Dude, it might even be that this fan fiction made it up. There are several moments I've searched up a word, and it's explicitly from this fan fiction and nowhere else.
Okay,
So tell me, game.
an endomorph body type is a thing, and it seems to be more like square, bigger body type.
Okay.
Soft, round, pudgy, and overweight. That is like a very, very pretentious way of describing that.
I think a pretentious way of describing whatever is to start your freaking fan fiction with a poem.
Dude, you'd be surprised how many fanfictions do that.
Following the McGee hair tradition, I guess they all like get together and have the same hairstyle.
Yeah.
He has short black hair and 2 hair parts with 3 strong cowlicks.
I think Eddie is bald usually.
No, it's just extremely short game.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't you know how to knock? Eddie replied. If I knock, you'll jump out the window. Sorry.
Oh, excuse you.
If I knock, you'll jump out the window, the man teased, waving his right index finger in a naughty sort of way.
Like Sonic.
I was thinking the same thing. Won't get far if you can't read the language. For context, Eddie moved to Japan.
Of course.
You know, instead of you want to move to Japan. I can read. I just choose not to. Good for you, Eddie. I'm proud of you. Eddie grabbed and put on his work clothes from a nearby. Eddie grabbed and put on his work clothes from a nearby box. You never said what we were doing, Obe. Obe is his uncle name, which I highly doubt That's in the show. It's 100% OC game.
Yeah.
Eager, aren't we? The high school near us is having their annual festival tomorrow, and we are in charge of ventilation maintenance and odd jobs. You know, typical. I guess Eddy is one of those contract workers.
Yeah, you know.
You know, basic auxiliary fare. Better than guard work. Now, for context, I don't know whether he's done guard work. I don't know why he says that.
Yeah,
I did wonder that when reading this, by the way. Eddy commented pulling his signature purple street sneakers from underneath the bed. How much do I get paid for this? You're not registered yet, Obe reassured his new ward. Think of this as a break-in day. Once you start high school, then we can pay stubs and benefits. Yeah, he's not getting paid for the job.
Well, of course, it's child labor.
It's literally, like, it's probably illegal, actually, to be honest. The rest of the time at home was uneventful, sorry. Eddy and Obe conversed about topics ranging from baseball, women, existential pseudoscience. Yes, the author literally said existential pseudoscience.
Who does he think he is, Gamer Lawrence?
And the proper way to skin something. After breakfast, they filed into Obe's truck and pulled out into the street. I'm just saying, I would be a shoo-in for Count Chocohuck. By the way, Gabe, I explicitly searched Google for Count Chocohuck, and this is the only result is this fan fiction.
Oh, good. Okay.
I even have the smile and everything. Yeah, just what I need. My fresh in blood fighting little girls using white sauce, Eddy laughed. No idea.
Okay.
It's perfect suppression foam, and I will fight anyone who says otherwise, Obe steamed. Eddy's eyes perked up when he saw two figures standing off to the side. Eddy couldn't make out any characteristics from the guy, but the girl had strange light orange hair with a red bow adorned on the side. She looks like a sentient cinnamon bun, Obe responded softly to her. What?
I think she looks like a human.
No, Gabe, it's the light orange hair. It's funny, Gabe.
I'm laughing so much.
Obe replied softly to himself. Nephew, when we head back, remind me to pick up some on the way back, will ya? I think they arrest people for that. I have no idea what the author means by this. It's supposed to be a joke, obviously, or a mocking statement, but I have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah,
Eddy smirked. I think they arrest people for that, Obe mocked underneath his breath. I don't know why you're fighting bosses' offer to cook, Eddy poked with a smirk. Obe furrowed his brow. The last thing I want is a smug 14-year-old handing my meals. I can do well by myself. It's bad enough she threatens to drop spoilers to the new series I pick up. No comments about that?
What's going on? What's the context for any of this? I feel like I missed something.
This is the context. You did not miss anything. I swear to God, you did not miss anything.
Who's boss and why is she 14 years old?
Gabe, I'm not kidding you. I did not abbreviate anything important, Gabe. This is literally in the fan fiction. So your guess is as good as mine, Gabe. The truck slowed past the couple. You know, the boy and the girl, the one with the cinnamon. Eddy was interested in the bun girl for some reason. He couldn't put his finger on it. You jealous? What? Look, I literally got here a week ago. There are more important things to worry about. Eddy crossed his arms. Besides, if I turn up my devilish good looks, I can get anyone I want. Yes, they actually said that.
Well, I mean,
said that.
He's a good-looking man. Eddy.
Eddy from Ed and Eddy. Yeah, you right, Eddy. The truck pulled into the garage across the street. When asked about the name, Eddy was met by moon runes, so he didn't bother asking. Again, I have no idea what they're talking about there. The building was a modern 4-level structure with a warm color aesthetic. He wouldn't have guessed it would imprison him for the rest of his school life. I'm guessing, is he talking about the school there? See, that's something else. Like, is he talking? Because it makes sense that the school would quote unquote imprison him for the rest of his
Yeah.
school life, unless he's talking about the garage building across from the
No,
school.
I think it's talking about the school building.
Okay, beautiful, isn't she? Najima-san placed. Yes, he does use the suffixes, the Japanese suffixes in
Great,
this
yeah.
story. Beautiful, isn't she? Najima-san placed his heart and soul into its construction. Its construction. May he rest in peace. Eddie just rolled his eyes at Obe's sarcasm. I guess he didn't like Najima-san. Can you believe it?
Darn. Some hidden lore with these completely made up characters.
Every character is an OC game, I swear to God. And jumped out of the truck. We need to check in first. Don't wander off too far. One of the co-workers, a tired-looking late 20s man with pulled-back coral hair, came up to them. Hey, Keon, Obe shouted, his face in a toothy grin. You look terrible. Nice to see you too, Obe. You don't need to yell. The man murmured, giving a wry expression. Who's this? This is the new +1 I was talking about. Eddie, be my best friend and mentor, Kenichi Onsai. He is the second on command for the whole shebang. Obe praised as Eddie shook hands with the man. So who's got in the jailer's craw now? Apparently, according to Inno, he caught his daughter with Parfait Girls Volume 7. That guy needs to be arrested for real. Kenichi answered tensely. I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, what's the fuck's going on? I don't know the context or any of this. It feels like the author is just bringing up random, like, I feel like their mentality is like, oh, if I, like, address everything as if every character already knows exactly what they're talking about, it'll seem like the world is more, like, lived in and it's more, like, established. Except for the fact that, like, the people reading the story have no idea what they're talking about, and it just comes off as really confusing and random.
Worse and worse, and it gets worse and worse.
Also, the fact that this entire stuff that they're talking about has nothing to do with DDLC or Ed and Eddy, so there's like no like grounding point. So it's basically just two OCs talking to themselves about a bunch of made up shit.
What I had to guess is the jailer's craw. Maybe like the jailer is Natsuki's dad.
Okay.
And maybe because she does read Parfait Girls chapter 7, so maybe something bad happens to her or something, but it's not explained.
Okay. All right. No, that makes sense now a little bit.
The fact that the man's fists were clenched was not lost on the two. Good to know. Inohine, it's just hot-tempered because of being... Sorry, Inohine is just hot-tempered because of being the new blood again. If you get swayed by him, the whole system would burn down. Oh, what does that mean? Obe placed a hand on the foreman's shoulder. Just breathe, all right? Remember your blood pressure. You two are checking out the box. They're fixing a box, apparently.
Okay.
You two are checking the box in Building 3. There have been problems with the generators short-circuiting, and with the two added strains... With the added strain the festival causes, we don't need any new complaints, he commanded. The new man slumped down, and if you could check the doors in the back, that would really put my mind at ease. They've been getting stuck more. Obe sighed. Keon, we've already been over this. We need to keep personal and professional lives separate. When I read that, I was like, what? What are you talking about? That sounds like a very, like... Why is that, like... I know.
What?
I try. But it's hard, you know. Kenichi shook his head. The hallucinations are getting worse.
What? Okay.
Well, it's the doors, man. Apparently it was way past his boundaries to talk about checking the doors in the back.
Yeah, is he like paranoid about the doors or like what?
Well, in the next two chapters, this is not addressed. I hope you know
great.
that.
Okay, good.
I think you were getting too passionate about nothing, my friend. Obe gave a warm smile. Once we get done here, She can rest at my house if she needs to. What does that mean?
Well, she?
See,
Is he talking about Natsuki? I don't get it.
See what I'm talking about? Like, sometimes the conversations people have with each other don't line up, so, like, it literally feels like they're not talking about the same things.
Yeah.
We pull Obe-san out of his shack. We have a few drinks. It'd be great. She doesn't need rest, Obe. Kenichi said, rubbing sweat off the sides of his head with his palms. He sighed, and his sky blue eyes twitched. Never mind, forget it. Don't worry about the doors. Just take care of the box. We'll talk about all this later, all right? Obe asked, a little wariness in his voice. Of course, Ollie. Kenichi. It doesn't help that It doesn't help that you have nicknames constantly for new characters.
Every character has like 5 nicknames, and they just use them interchangeably. Yeah.
Keon is supposed to be Kenichi, and Ollie is supposed to be Obe, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the. I'm not going there. Of course, Ollie. Kenichi resolved, throwing up his hands. Kicked the can down the street like everyone else does. With that, the man left. What's with that guy? Eddy asked, a little pissed. I'm sorry, Eddy. That was really uncalled for on his part. I don't know what they're talking about here either.
Yeah, like, I guess Keiichi getting mad or something, or bringing up the doors, or I feel like this author, like, mentally he makes these connections, but he doesn't write down the connections, so he just assumes that, like, the audience will follow what his mind's darting to from, like, one thought to another, but without any of that connective part.
And it's kind of misleading because the story's not explicitly, like, awfully written either.
No, it's not. It's only when you actually, like, read what they're actually saying do you be like, what are they actually supposed to be talking about at this moment?
I'm sorry, Eddy. That was really uncalled for on his part. Obe looked at his nephew, a little chaffed as well. He's usually very buddy. Must be sleep deprivation again. Who cares? That's not a reason to be a jerk. Eddy's crossed his arms.
Okay, I haven't seen that much of Ed, and Eddy, but I really don't think that's in Eddy's character. to be concerned with how people act and if they're a jerk or not. Considering Eddy was the one who constantly tried to, like, scam everyone and was, like, one of the biggest jerks on the show.
Oh, his scam things become a central character point. Don't worry.
Oh, okay, good.
Maybe if we finish our daily rounds, he will turn around. Obe wandered aloud. Okay. Let's get to fixing that box first, alright? Lead the way, Mr. Fix-It. Eddy grumbled as he started to calm down. Obe took the initiative and started the two to building 3. There's some parts that are not well, like, use the correct the grammar there. Along the way, the two heard a melody from one of the buildings. A piano? You hear it too, eh? Obe replied happily, turning his head back. That's from the recreation room. It's in building 2 if you want to look for it later. I don't play. Why would I look for it? Eddy asked. Expanding boundaries is good for you, Eddy. Whatever that means. The pair entered the building and was nearly stopped by a strong, musky scent. Hey, what reeks? Eddy yelled out, covering his nose. The majesty of Building 3, came Obe's response as he rose his arms as if the scent was a presentation. If something smells, it sticks up the whole building in only an hour. Takes 7 hours to get rid of it, too. That's why they put so much emphasis on the ventilation here. I'm a little concerned how you know about that, Eddy joked.
Isn't that his whole job to, like, do that?
That part made me laugh, I'm gonna be honest, when I first read that. Because it's like, I'm a little concerned how do you know that? Isn't his job literally
yeah.
It's exactly what you said. Like,
yeah, his job is to know this, yeah.
Hey, if you've been around this school as often as I have, you have something to know about. Obe smiled. A strange green glow flashed in his eyes. I'm sure eventually you'll be able to say the same. I don't even understand that. Why does he say it that way? Aren't they doing a job? Whatever.
Yeah. A strange
And
green glow flashed in his eyes. I guess it's supposed to be ominous? I don't know.
Dude, maybe that's part of the... I don't know. I don't know. He could be possessed by Satan's reincarnation for all I know. Chapter 2. That was the end of Chapter 1.
That's the end of Chapter 1. What a great chapter.
Day 1, noon. I love this mental notes number 13. I have no idea what this is, but it makes me laugh. I think I have an attraction to pain. I'm in a car with a faulty steer. Every time I believe I'm in a lane, into incoming traffic I always veer.
I think we have an attraction to pain, considering how much fucking horrible fan fiction we read.
Isn't that so edgy though, man? Like a person likes driving into traffic because they like pain.
Yeah.
Even though I'm pretty sure like getting into an accident risks your life, I guess. It's not necessarily pain, more like death. Unless you want to be like permanently dismembered or like disfigured or something. I don't really know what's going on here.
Who knows?
Or maybe it's like the thrill of going into traffic or something. Storm Chaser, day 1, noon. I'm also curious, like, I can't say Storm Chaser is the name of the chapter? Maybe it's like the arc or something, I figured. That's also not explained. Maybe this is a Storm Chaser arc. How do you feel the story, though? How do you feel the story so far?
It's very confusing. I think I made that's mostly what I've been noticing so far is that it'll just jump from one topic to another and introduce things without explaining them at all.
Okay, that's a continued theme game.
Oh, great. Okay.
Truth be told, Eddie didn't know why he was sent to Japan to live with his uncle. All the events that led his uncle Obe.
Yeah.
All the events that led him, Ed, to his brother's trailer were kept a secret by the rest of the neighborhood as far as he knew. Johnny 2x4 was mad, but he also wasn't a rat. Kevin made sure of that anyway. Eddie can't let those thoughts ruin his new life.
I think he just thinks of 2 people, despite the fact that, like, at least a dozen people live in that neighborhood.
I kind of figure he's constantly trying to build mystery, like the previous Jack story. You know, Jack.
Oh yeah.
Constantly build, unlike explaining the story, it's actually the opposite, where he leads to some sort of mystery and never explains it, I would presume. Eddie, quit spacing out. You're making me look good. Obe said, poking Eddie's left cheek. Don't touch my face. Eddie reeled, annoyed. He wiped the sweat from his forehead, his arm. Can't we turn on a fan or something? I'll turn into Potter in this place. Exposed wired metal tubes and a boy made of water and meat, Obe replied, attempting to poke Eddie again on the ladder, which was made by a SWAT. What? I told you to get a water bottle yesterday. No, you didn't. I have a flask in the tools that I use for vermin cleaning jobs you can use. That sounds unsanitary and unsafe, Obe. Obe smiled, sheepishly realizing his mistake. Why do you have a flask? Oh, never mind. I don't really want to know. Again, he explained it to you. No, he said...
What?
I have a flask in the tools that I use for vermin cleaning jobs. And then Eddie said, why do you have a flask? Never mind, I don't really want to know.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I guess I didn't break line or, like, read that line correctly, but I thought this is one of the weirdest sentences where he, like, he explains that he uses the flask for vermin cleaning jobs, and Eddie goes, why do you have a flask?
No, he has a flask among the tools that he uses for vermin cleaning jobs. He doesn't use the flask for vermin cleaning.
Oh! You totally got me there. You know,
Yeah.
I will full right apologize there. I'm sorry, guys. My mistake. There's a flask. What was Obe's mistake, though? Will we ever know?
That's a good point. I don't know what Obe's mistake in saying that was, though.
Sorry, I completely butchered that. I should reread that. I have a flask of tools that he used for vermin cleaning jobs you can use. Obe smiled sheepishly, realizing his mistake. What do you have a flask? Never mind, I don't really want to know. Eddy dropped the subject and left the room. He took note of the water fountain and went to get the box. Due to Obe's natural order of obtuse rationality, Eddy found the box outside the building. The air outside was bright and shiny, with a soft, cooling breeze. Knowing that he may lose a few pounds of water weight, Eddy didn't see the harm in soaking in the breeze. He sat down on the step leading to the entrance. Enjoying yourself? A deep, harsh voice pulled Eddy out of his solitude. He saw an imposing giant of a man with short white hair, silver smoldering eyes, and teeth that looked like they could chew through a fence link chain. Before Eddy could react, the man closed the gap and holstered him by the collar like a doll. I don't run a construction business for a snot-nosed Jaikin.
Gaijin.
Gaijin. Know what that is?
Yeah, it's a not very nice word Japanese people use for foreigners.
Is it necessary for this author constantly to... I guess he's in Japan, but like...
Yeah, Eddy does live in Japan.
For a snot-nosed gaijin to laze around on my time. I just sat down for a minute, Eddy gasped. What's your problem? Whoever let you in is getting triple shift, the man growled. Hine, Obe shouted. Put him down. What's the meaning of this? Just policing the rules because apparently no one else does. No kids in the construction area. It's not safe. The man nicknamed Hine switched gears. And will someone silence whoever's playing that piano? So help me God, I will find them and tear them apart with my bare hands if that keeps up.
Wow.
Pretty mean.
That's a kind of mean man, yeah.
The man dropped Eddy to the ground where he landed on his back. You alright, Eddy? Obe asked as Eddy scrambled back to his feet. Who the hell are you calling a kid? To prevent a dust-up, Obe stood between the dueling factions with a shaky grin. My sincerest apologies, I forgot to add my nephew to the registry before I began. Didn't he say that like at the beginning of the morning? Like, did he on purpose forget? Did he like purposely leave him out?
Yeah. Yeah, he said he's not registered. This is his break-in day. I don't know.
That sounded intentional to me.
I don't know.
Obe conceded with a curt bow. Your forgetfulness will get you killed one game, McGee. Ino's eyes softened. Eddy was still fuming. That a threat, old man? Eddy needled. I don't make threats, I act on them. Ino retorted, stepping forward. Oh, he started to sweat as panic filled his heart. Wait a second. Time out. He pulled Eddy aside with a swoop. Just letting him walk all over you? Eddy whispered, his face red. He's literally crazy right now. I would take this opportunity to meet new people. Obe shook like a leaf. What? Eddy's color cooled down. Hey, Ino, my nephew volunteered to stop your piano playing problem. You stopped your piano problem. Obe faced back to the gorilla and gave him a wave for emphasis. Did he now? Ino snorted, cracking his hands. Are you serious? I didn't send it to be an errand boy. Eddy whispered. After that, leave or sign the register. Ino commanded, leaving the two sweating engineers. Building 2, level 3, hallway. And so Eddy went off to find the mysterious pianist. Picking battles is what sets us apart from animals. What a load of cruck. Does he say that?
You don't think he said that unless you cut it out, but I don't think
I did not. I did not.
I don't think he
would.
would.
This is an example.
Yeah. maybe the author wrote that and then he like re-edited the line but forgot to do Eddy's response.
When I was briefing, I specifically looked for when Eno said that, but I could not find that. Eddie poked his head into the door. He looked around the room. Pool table, ping pong, coffee table, and chairs in front of a flat screen TV, television, and large white grand piano with a girl at the keys. The girl was 5 feet 7 inch, with an athletic build and long chestnut brown hair that was half going before her ears and the rest pulled into a ponytail by a white and blue ribbon at the top. With that, a glance at the girl, Eddie felt intimidated. Are we finally ready to introduce a DDLC character?
Yeah, it only took...
After all this time.
It's only, like, what, halfway through chapter 2? Yeah, sure.
Except for that one time they mentioned the sentient cinnamon bun.
Oh, right.
Before he noticed her emerald eyes meeting his cobalt, he had a blush on his cheeks. Hello, do you want to turn? The girl spoke with a smile. Eddie just stood there like a statue. Then with a slight shake, he spoke. Hey, my boss said that if I find the source of the music that was bothering him and stop it, then I could go home. Eddie spoke like he was having a stroke. You're working for Najima? I wasn't expecting him to send someone so young this time. Didn't they say, like, built by Najima-san, rest in peace?
That's a good point. There's so many random character names that I'm having a hard time keeping track of them. But yeah, I think Najima was the one who built the building, right? And he died?
And died.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The girl laughed, and he scratched the back of his head a little embarrassed. This time, is this an ongoing thing? It kind of makes me feel like the author's foreshadowing some sort of time loop here.
Oh, great.
Right? Doesn't that kind of feel like the...
I guess if it's Monica.
Well, this is more like a part-time gig while I go to school. I'll be enrolling after the festival. Eddie was starting to sweat. It's always refreshing to see new people for a change, the girl mused, looking out the window. After a few moments, she turned back. What's your name? Eddie McGee, and you are? Monica. The girl bounced up off her seat. Eddie noticed the knee-high socks and eyes.
Great. Ugh.
Mind if I ask you a follow-up question? Sure, ask away, Eddie laughed nervously. What are your feelings about literature? This question threw Eddie off for a bit. Like books and that? I wouldn't know. I don't really read that much. That's pretty honest, Monica remarked, walking for the piano. You'd be surprised how many people would exaggerate around me. What can I say? Eddie was not above getting an ego boost from time to time. There's no use lying.
Character who lies all the time, yes.
I don't know if you got this impression already, but this story is completely packed with Eddie being shipped with everyone.
Of course. Why wouldn't you write a DDLC story if you're not going to profusely ship all the time? It's like there's no other fucking aspect of anything.
To answer your question, literature can be more than books, movies. No offense, I would not consider movies literature.
Yeah, music. I think they are.
I also would not consider music literature. We even have a club member who reads manga in the clubhouse closet. At least the manga is like a book, like a written book,
like a written book
with words. I don't consider music and movies to be literature. Come on. Unless it's like in subtitles or something. I don't know. I still disagree. Monica gave a wink. Is this a sales pitch? Eddie asked with a laugh. Eddie's scam radar sounded off a bit. There's Ed's scamming personality.
Yeah.
Coming in. You know, they finally decided to use an aspect from the show.
From the show, yeah.
Monica looked like she wasn't prepared for a curve like that. I was saying I'm the president of the literature club I was just saying that I'm the president of a club that specializes in literature of all things, and if you have time in your part-time job, maybe you could be interested in coming by for a meeting. Monica's confidence wavered slightly. This was not unnoticed. Eddie felt more calm talking to Monica, but sometimes something in the back of his mind told him he shouldn't be. A scammer's eyes are more powerful tools in times like these. I'll keep that in mind. Eddie probed with a smile. He didn't trust her. She was too perfect, too doctored, a Venus flytrap in a tight uniform. He still had to act like he was gullible, though. Sorry to leave, but I have club matters to attend to. It's nice meeting you, Eddy. Monica held out her hand. The pleasure's all mine, Eddy said, grabbing her hand into a handshake. Her hand felt ice cold. She's going to be a problem. Wait, literature? Isn't that the club Boss is a part of, too?
Oh yeah, Boss. That
Yeah,
well-established character who's mentioned once in also another completely out of context, nobody knows what he's talking about moment, yes.
Eddy pushed the thought out of his head when he realized he was alone. How do you feel now, Gabe? How was the second chapter?
Well, that was a lot of establishing stuff as well,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, we needed that, like, the worker was way offline. Way offline. I was frankly astonished that he even mentioned the back doors.
Oh, right, that was in this chapter. That was that was strange.
That one time that is it Ino Hine?
Which
that a
one? There's
nickname?
like 4 characters that are all OCs with names I can barely remember.
Here's what I think. I think obviously Obe is Eddy's uncle.
Yes.
Ino Hine is like maybe like the director of like the construction, like
Yeah, he's like the boss.
Large person in charge.
He's like the boss, but he isn't boss.
Right. And Najima is like the dead architect? Maybe?
Najima's the dead architect who may also be related to Ino Hine? Maybe? Based on that one line Monica had?
Right. Oh no, that was the first. Wait. Yeah. Oh, Kion. Is it Kenichi? Was the angry?
Well, he's
was
the one
the
who
angry guy
got angry and was
delusion.
hallucinating about the doors. Yeah.
All right, ready for chapter 3?
Oh, I'm ready for chapter 3, and I already know we're off to a good start.
Chapter 3, day 1, evening. Rumor mill.
I really hope we get to find out what this rumor mill is.
Well, I feel like with the way that this is set up, it sounds like just whenever they talk about rumors. But in later chapters, it doesn't feel like that's fully true to what the rumor mill really is. I don't know. I don't freaking know what is. All right, hold on. All right, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together. Rumor mill. Wooden's picking up. One of the workers observed finishing his sandwich. A group of festival workers were huddled together in a congregation of food trucks that lined the west exits of the grounds. A storm? As long as they don't make us fix Tower 6, it may storm forever for all I care. A comment rained out. Eventually, that hunk of scrap needs to be removed from operation. This is ridiculous, watching clouds all day. Another replied, let alone the rumors surrounding it. A few grumbles followed in agreement. Maybe we can get Storm Chaser purified, Ino Hine theorized. It could be a hex causing it.
Okay.
A retort followed. Seems like it's just a big coincidence. Is it really, though? Ino asked. We've seen all the statistics.
All the statistics that indicate that this is a hex.
Eddy's ears pricked up as he threw away his scraps. Obe shook his head as he followed suit. Sorry, is it supposed to be Obe? I just thought about that.
No,
it's
Obe.
Or Obe?
It's
okay.
Obe because he's in Japan, yeah.
They left the group to their new task. The increased number of suicides can be attributed to anything. Using Storm Chaser as an excuse seems too simple.
So, nobody's established what Storm Chaser is, right?
No.
Okay, good.
The former pondered over his ramen noodles. A slam is overheard, causing the men to look to the cause. A disgruntled Kenichi breathed heavily as he clenched his fist on the bench. Kaon? You have something to share with the class? The foreman rushed off. A scrap of paper was left behind. A few workers passed it around, but no one could read the writing under the marker. I have higher clearance. Don't rack your brain. What does that mean? Does that mean like someone of a higher clearance is only allowed to read what he wrote?
I don't know.
Barked, grabbing the slip. All it had was 6:30, scribbled in red over what looked like two-dimensional letter soup. I better let Obe know of this, thought with concern as interest in what transpired echoed through the group. How'd you feel with the first rumor mill?
It sure was great.
Yeah,
I just like how this guy just introduces characters and concepts and just names with, like, I know it's supposed to be like, ooh, what is this? What's going on? I want to find out this mystery, but it's more like, what? I have, like, no, like, he does it so excessively that it's not intriguing, it's just annoying,
Oh God, man! It's almost like how I feel about the Rings of Power series sometimes. Lord of the Rings one. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, Storm Chaser, day 1, evening. So I did summarize this a little bit.
Okay.
The chapter begins with Eddy talking with his friends, Double D and Ed on his smartphone. They talk about culture shock and walk around the neighborhood may help. Ed asks if Eddy is going to be a samurai. Double D and Ed end the conversation basically describing how much they miss each other and that they will talk to each other again sometime, or if they need it or something. I don't know. I don't really care about that. I'm gonna be honest. If you cared about that, I could read that. But
I do not care.
You okay? Obi asked. Startling the lad. Where'd you come from? Eddy asked, still a little shook. Grandmama always told me I was a miracle child, Obi remarked, looking away with a twinkle in his eye. Eddy rolled over with a groan. How are your friends? I don't want to talk about it, Eddy muttered with a sadness in his voice. How are your friends? I don't want to talk about it, Obi replied in a frustrated tone. The two sauntered over to Obi's truck, and the journey home began. Eddy conjured up a question that was nagging him since lunch. What's Storm Tracer? Oh, here you go, Gabe.
Oh, great. Okay, awesome.
Knew this was coming. Obi Sorry, I almost got some I thought of the Crash story where he always knows the question's coming but just doesn't answer it. No, from the Jack.
What?
I'm just reminded suddenly of when Jack is always knows when a question's happening, but he just doesn't answer it.
Oh, right. Well, no, he intentionally asks it in such a way that people will ask follow-up answers exactly what he intended, and then gets annoyed or is yeah, I knew you were gonna say that, when people ask the question he was very clearly leading towards.
When Storm Chaser knew that was coming, Obi muttered under his breath as he pushed his aviator shades up the bridge of his nose. There's a power station to the west near the river basin. This station uses 6 overhead wire towers to send a current downstream for South Market in the industrial district. 10 years ago, a typhoon hits and nearly took all of them out. For some reason or another, the town council completely botched one of the towers and didn't bother to fix it. The tower became known as Storm Chaser for its fun ability to track lightning storms. Every single time it storms, it would get hit, and the whole area would go into a blackout. It could repair, and the cycle continues. What does a power line have to do with people offing themselves? Eddy loved hearing about rumors and myths, especially when it involved the more darker shades of suburban living. Not really sure myself. I promised myself that I wouldn't get involved in topics concerning that, Obe said, turning off the main road. I know Kenichi is involved, Eddy remarked. The guy has practically lost it during lunch. I actually know why that is now, Obe mused. Ino finally got him to spill the beans. No fooling, Eddy gave the storyteller the floor. Kenichi has had a hard life, let's be honest here. The only family he has left is his little sister. She's pretty much what drives Kenichi to do basically anything. She also has been dealing with chronic depression for almost her entire life. Obi shook his head. Kenichi is trying to help her, and for a while it seemed to get better, but soon, but co- but come to find out over the past few days, her mental state started deteriorating at a very fast rate. Now he fears she's becoming suicidal, and he can't figure out why it's happening.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it's because she's had depression her whole life. Maybe that could be related to anything like that. I don't know. Does he have anything? Does he have anyone to keep an eye on her when he's gone? And he raised an eyebrow. By the way, I'm sure you can see where this is going, Gabe.
Oh, of course. Of course. Oh, God. Okay.
Well, it's Sayori from DDLC, man.
Of course,
She had
yeah.
depression her whole life.
Yeah.
She does have someone, but he's got some flaws. But she really trusts him. Obi concluded with a sigh. That's obviously the main character.
Yeah.
Also, she has her literature club she's vice president of, so at least she has support there if she needs it. Wait, are you serious? Eddie was flabbergasted. First boss, then the piano girl, and now Kenichi's sister. Is everyone a part of the literature club? That, my friend, sounds like the universe is telling you something.
Well, I'm glad at least the story acknowledges that it's extremely contrived.
Obey pointed with a smile. The truck pulled up aside their house, and Eddie jumped out. He noticed he was the only one to do so. You're not going in, Eddie asked. What if they say about the weather tonight, if what they say about the weather tonight, they need all the hands they can get. Sorry, I've been butchering all the lines for some reason. Even this abbreviated version, which would be hard to tell what is actually written in this abbreviated versions. I swear I just cut out parts. I didn't actually edit really that much. Obe pulled out a slip of paper from his jacket with a sigh. I got a request for you. Eddie's shoulder sunk. Let me guess, you want me to check in Kenichi's sister tonight, right? Meeting new people may help her. You never know. Could have picked a better circumstances. Eddie looked around. He felt uneasy about the whole exchange. You know that couple we passed by this morning? Kenichi lives on this street. Here's the house number. Obe tossed the slip at Eddie, hitting him in the nose. Call me if you need me. And with that, Obe's truck rumbled down the street to the next job. Eddie wanted to be pissed, but he was more concerned. I'm not a therapist. How am I supposed to help a suicidal girl? You know, that's a very good question. If you realize that someone's suicidal, maybe it's time to get help.
Well, maybe meeting Eddie will inspire her to become a better person in her personality with no shipping whatsoever.
You're right. With that, with the look of defeated Eddie scooped up. With the look of defeat, Eddie scooped up the home address. May as well deal with this now. What do you mean? Were you just gonna leave?
Yeah, well, didn't he?
Ugh. Eddie looked at his watch. 6:30. If I hurry, I may be able to find a candy store before it gets dark. What? He found the house early after a few minutes. Sorry, he found the house easily after a few minutes. He gave the door a knock a few times and got no response. He tried the knob and the door came open. Not wanting to look the gift horse in the mouse, he went into the foyer. It was dark and the air was still. Hey, Eddie spoke in the living room. What am I doing here? I don't know her name. Your brother told me to check on you. There was no response from that either.
Wouldn't that be weird if some random stranger was just like, hey, my brother told me to check on you? Yeah, that's trustworthy.
Your brother told me to check, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yeah, no, this is a whole sketchy situation, Gabe.
This is very sketchy.
It's the universe, Gabe. Didn't you hear it was the universe?
Oh, yeah, the universe wants him to do this, of course.
If I back out now, I'll never hear the end of it. Let's just look through the house. I just imagine this is so you just went in their house and just left? That was it? You didn't even try? He's like, yeah, I went to the candy store. He figured upstairs would work, and with a few steps, a closed door came into Eddie's view. He went up the stairs as softly as he could and crept to the door. Lightly pressed to his ear to the door, he heard a weak, pained voice whisper out for help. Double D would be chewing me out about respecting people's privacy by now. Well, let's see what's behind door number 1. With the crack of his knuckles, Eddie gently opened the door. Alright, continue to the next part for the next chapter, but it's basically just the end of this chapter.
Okay.
His eyes locked with hers, the girl he passed by this morning, connected to the ceiling fan with white rope. Her breath was slow and faint, her fingers a mix of red blood and bluish skin with nails pulled outwards. As if an outside force pulled a switch in him, Eddie narrowed his eyes and pounced into the room, his eyes burning with a flaming anger. You're not getting away that easily. If I can't go, neither will you.
What? That's not the thing to say to somebody doing that. Let me just be honest here.
Can Eddie not die? Is that what that means?
If I can't go, neither will you? That sounds like he's saving her out of spite.
Spite because he can't die? Maybe?
Yeah,
Maybe?
like... Well, he's attracted to pain, so maybe he does want to kill himself. And he's just jealous of her or something. I don't fucking know.
How'd you feel about the first 3 chapters of the story? The most mundane chapters, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, you know what?
Yeah?
I'm a little confused. I have a feeling this story is gonna get much worse. The first 3 chapters feel like it's setting up a lot, you know?
Well, you gotta hear the shipping parts of the next chapters, right?
Oh, great. I can't wait.
It also gets into weird metaphysical stuff with, like, it being a game, but also not.
Oh, great. Okay.
No, it's great, man. It's great. I haven't even gotten that far. I think I've read 6 chapters of this. So we're halfway through the part that I've read.
Alright, okay then.